You ever look around our cities and just see concrete, steel, and glass everywhere? Well, today we're going to explore a completely different approach, a blueprint that's actually drawn from nature itself. We're going to dive into how urban planners are using what they call ecosystem services to build cities that are healthier, more resilient, and, just more human.
Okay, let's really get into this. We've all felt it, haven't we? That huge difference between walking down a hot, loud concrete street and then stepping into a cool, quiet park. That feeling? It's not just in your head. Urban nature is literally working for us. It's cleaning the air, it's cooling our buildings, and so much more. It's a living, breathing part of the city's infrastructure.
So that brings up a really big question. What if we moved beyond just having a few nice parks scattered around? What if we could actually integrate all of nature's power into the very fabric of our cities, right from the get-go? To answer that, we really need to understand the science behind that good feeling you get in the park. It all comes down to a concept called ecosystem services, and it basically describes all of nature's often invisible but absolutely essential work that it does for our lives.
And here it is, the key term for today, ecosystem services. This is the official name for all those incredible benefits we get from healthy ecosystems. And the crucial thing to get here is that these aren't just nice-to-haves. This idea reframes nature as a fundamental service provider, one that's supporting our economy and our health every single day.
To make sense of it all, this big idea is broken down into 4 key categories. A good way to think of them is like this: the foundation, which is supporting; the products, which is provisioning; the management, that's regulating; and the experience, which is cultural. Let's break down what each of these really means.
All right, let's get into the specifics of these 4 powerful services that nature provides. You'll see how each one plays a really distinct and vital role in our lives.
So first up, we've got the supporting services. I really love this idea of them being the backstage crew. You don't always see them, but without them, the whole show just couldn't go on. We're talking about the absolute fundamentals, like creating fertile soil, providing habitats for animals and insects, and maintaining biodiversity. They make literally everything else possible.
Next, we have the provisioning services. Now, if the supporting services are the backstage crew, these are the actual things we see on stage. These are the direct, tangible goods we get from ecosystems. Things like fresh water to drink, food to eat, and materials like wood to build our homes. These are the resources that our whole society is built on.
Then there are the regulating services, which you can kind of think of as nature's own engineering department. These are the processes that keep our environment stable. We're talking about trees purifying the air we breathe, wetlands absorbing floodwaters, bees pollinating our crops, even green spaces helping to control the local climate. It's a powerful, natural control system that just works.
And finally, we have cultural services. These are all the non-material benefits that just make our lives richer. It's that mental health boost you get from a walk in the woods, it's the park where your kids play and you meet your neighbors, and it's the natural beauty that inspires art and spirituality. This is all about how nature makes our lives better on a really deep human level.
Okay, so that's all the theory. But how does this translate from cool ideas into actual urban design? Let's take a look at how these principles are being put into practice in the real world right now.
And believe me, this isn't some niche, futuristic idea. It's happening all over the world. On the left, you're looking at Norra Djurgårdsstaden, a district in Stockholm that's being redeveloped with nature at its very core. And on the right, that's a vision for Khalid bin Sultan City in the UAE, designed from scratch with these principles. It just goes to show how adaptable this approach is. So let's zoom in on that Stockholm example to see exactly how they're doing it.
Yeah, they're not just planting a few trees and calling it a day. They are using green roofs and walls to regulate building temperatures. They're building wetlands to manage stormwater and prevent flooding, and they're designing public green spaces specifically to bring people together to enhance social cohesion. Every single choice is deliberately providing multiple ecosystem services.
So how do planners and developers make sure this is all actually working? How do you quantify something as big as nature? Well, it turns out you can actually measure it. They use tools like the Green Space Index, or GSI. This is basically a scoring system for development projects. And honestly, this is the real game changer. It forces developers to treat nature as a measurable, non-negotiable part of the design. It works by assigning a value to different green elements. So a mature tree is worth more than a patch of grass, a wetland gets a really high score, and then it requires projects to meet a certain target. For example, a project might need to achieve a GSI factor of 0.6. This simple number has a really powerful effect. It means that 60% of that property's area has to be designed to positively contribute to the local ecosystem. So all of a sudden, green roofs, permeable pavements, and native plant gardens aren't just nice ideas anymore. They are concrete, measurable requirements you need to get a building permit.
And this just brilliantly shows how it all connects. You can see the ecosystem services in action on these buildings. The green roofs are providing temperature regulation and managing stormwater. The trees are capturing CO2, they're reducing noise, providing shade. The pond helps with flood protection and water purification. Every single one of these elements is a piece of the puzzle, and it all adds up to that final GSI score.
So, after seeing how this all works, it's probably worth taking a second to think about our own cities and, how they measure up. Let's just pull together the big ideas from all this. Okay, here are the key takeaways. First, ecosystem services are not optional extras. They're fundamental to making our cities livable. Second, by consciously designing with nature, we build communities that are way more resilient to big challenges like climate change. And third, with tools like the Green Space Index, this isn't just wishful thinking. It is a practical, achievable strategy for building better cities.
And it all comes back to this really simple but powerful philosophy. Instead of fighting against nature, paving it over, and trying to control it, this whole approach is about working with it. It's about letting nature do what it does best for the benefit of every single one of us.
So I'm going to leave you with this question to think about. The next time you walk outside, just take a look around. Can you spot one of these services in action? Maybe it's a row of street trees providing shade, or a community garden, or even just a simple patch of grass soaking up the rain after a storm. What is nature already doing for you, right where you live?